Hey guys, this is Tanya and I am making a video today because I wanted to discuss this topic that I have seen so many videos and articles and comments about, the You Can Touch My Hair event that happened in New York on June 6th, just a week ago, not even a week ago, a few days ago. And there has been such a flurry of responses about it that I wanted to chime in. And I don't usually do videos like this, but I really wanted to add my opinion about this topic. So if you're interested in that discussion, stay tuned. I'm not going to be talking about my own natural hair today. I'm going to be talking about this event and the wider discussion that has grown up around it. You can touch my hair. So I have my computer open with multiple pages. I have a notepad written full of notes because I have a lot to say about this. This may get long. If it does, just bear with me. Okay, so earlier in the week, one of my girlfriends posted an article from aljazeera.com on her Facebook page, which highlighted the event and asked what some different people thought about it. And I was one of the people that she asked about it. So let me tell you what the event was. The event was hosted by unruly.com. It was an art exhibition to kind of interact with this whole question of touching our hair. So they decided to do this art exhibit in Union Square in New York. They had several women standing there with signs that said, "You can touch my hair," and people came up and touched their hair. The greater issue was, is it okay for someone to come and touch my hair, or to even ask if they can touch my hair? Are they crossing an unacceptable, although invisible line when they make that request, or when they just come up and do it? And I want to say from the start that I'm expressing my opinion. I know that it's different from many of the other opinions that I've seen. I am not in any way arguing against or trying to cause any strife with anybody else who has a different opinion. I am not putting it out there to try to stir up any drama or silliness or confusion. So let me get my notes here. Okay, so there were some pretty strong responses to this. Some people felt that we as black women were being objectified. I saw a sign that said, "What will it be next? My butt?" You know, like, "Can you come and touch my butt?" Things like that. So things that are specifically associated with black people. There was a response or a backlash, people saying, you know, why are we so different and interesting that people want to know about us? Why do they want to come and touch things that pertain to me? I'm just like everyone else. Very true statements. That we were being put on display yet again for the entertainment of white people. I read comments like, it's not our job to satisfy their curiosity. When my friend posted the link on Facebook, I posted a response. So I'm going to read to you the response that I posted initially. Okay, and it's kind of lengthy, so bear with me. My friend said, "I thought you might find the above article interesting. Would you participate?" So my response was, I don't mind people touching my hair. I would participate in this art project if asked. I agree that people who don't know about my type of hair are ignorant of it. The term is not inherently negative though. They're not informed and are often just curious, and there's nothing wrong with curiosity. I'm happy to inform people about it and let them touch it if they like. It doesn't liken me to a museum piece or a zoo animal. I think that to call it objectification is a matter of interpretation. It stems from an assumption that there is a them against us reality in place, and that I need to defend myself against it. I refuse to live that way. Not everyone who is curious has a hidden race issue deep within. Also, this is an art piece, so it is an exhibition of sorts, in addition to an informative interaction about black hair. My context may be colored by the fact that when I was in high school, I moved from very diverse Brooklyn, New York, to very homogeneous Lilburn, Georgia. I was one of 4 black students in my high school and one of 2 in my graduating class. My classmates were very ignorant on black people and culture, and like it or not, I became the person who, by default, answered the questions through my words and lifestyle. I never found it particularly offensive because usually questions were asked with sincerity and people were glad to be informed or corrected about misinformation. The only times there was a problem was when people were trying to be funny and saying things that they already knew were inappropriate. Hair is hair, but people do wonder about it. Shoot, I have friends of many different races and I find their hair fascinating as well. Sometimes I ask to touch it. The truth is that our hair has been tucked away for so long that now that it's coming out and standing up, people find it amazing and want to understand it. I don't think it has to be offensive unless we choose to take it that way. I've been natural for 8 years, and I've had this experience, although not as often as you might expect, from people of various races. So that was my response to her message, her question. So I started getting videos popping up on YouTube in my feed that people were responding to this event, and all of the responses that I saw were ultimately negative about the event. And it seems to me that the responses are by and large growing out of an expectation that there is, like I said, this them against us thing, that we as Black people are always in a setup where we're having to defend ourselves against white people wanting to either encroach upon us or know things about us that they shouldn't be curious about in the first place. Or my opinion about the whole curiosity thing is that curiosity is a natural human instinct. It's inherent. If you're alive and a human being, you're curious. This is what has enabled us to grow as individuals, as an entire species and as individuals. We are curious naturally about things that are different or that are not like us. And we're in denial if we're saying that's not the case. I am curious about things that I don't know anything about. That's how I learn. That's how I become more informed. I am very interested in seeing people unified, seeing people reconcile to one another. So I automatically lean toward educating people about something that they don't know about, educating people about things that are different and that they might naturally be resistant to or reluctant to interact with. So I thought the women who hosted this event had some really interesting points to make. They posted a response to a lot of the backlash that they got. They posted a response on their webpage, and I thought it was really worth quoting some of the things that they wrote. So I'm going to read them to you, and I'll post a link to this response as well. It was called, "You Can Touch My Hair, What Were You Thinking?" Okay, so one of the things, a lot of those who were upset with the exhibit also exclaimed, "Why do we have to educate them?" As though the people asking or wanting to touch the hair were them. They said, "We collectively or individually don't have to educate anyone about any aspect of our lives. But I enjoy doing so because people have done the same for me. Throughout my life, there have been moments when I've been completely clueless about a subject matter and have probably asked some really stupid questions. But people tolerated my ignorance and informed me by answering those questions. And I'm a better person for it. So why not pay that forward? Some of the people that are touching, especially those that are touching without asking, may be doing so out of some deep-rooted sense of entitlement. But we can't apply that notion to everyone that's touching, or at least those that are asking first. For some, it really may be an innocent lack of knowledge about our hair, and or lack of knowledge that the question or the act of touching our hair may be offensive. So sometimes people don't even realize that they're being offensive or that it could possibly cause offense." They also said, "You can or can't touch my hair is not a conversation about hair. It's much bigger than that. It's a conversation about how we as hyphenated Americans all relate to each other. It's about whether or not we're taking an interest in or taking the time to learn about each other. That learning doesn't have to come in the form of our event. It can come in the form of opening up a book or watching a documentary on YouTube. I like conversations because they allow for human connection, like the one Ty Alexander describes," and they have a link. "But conversations have to be wanted by both parties." I thought that their response was amazing. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's part of it. And the point is this, that people have to educate themselves on one another in order to learn. And it's not a matter of you against me, you're making me an object that you need to study. It's about learning from one another. And it wasn't only white people who were at this event touching hair. There were people of many different races. I want to point that out. But speaking specifically about people of other races who were wanting to touch the hair of Black women and learn about it, the natural curiosity that's in us, I think, encourages us to learn more about one another and breaks down walls of separation. And that's really what it's about, breaking down walls of separation between people. Yes, people will ask me silly questions about myself because they don't have the experience of being Black. I've had people who are Black ask me questions about living in Israel. Are they silly? Should I be offended? No, because they don't know what my experience is like. I consider it an opportunity to educate them. And I think that's how we need to look at this. We're educating people. Can I choose to be offended? Can I choose to say, they've been objectifying my people for centuries. This is just another example of it, them wanting to know more about me. Yes, if I'm interacting with it through that grid, but I can choose to look at it differently. I can choose to have a different perspective. I can choose to not assume that that's their perspective or their inherent or even hidden reality that they aren't even aware of, that they're coming at me from that perspective. You can go through life being offended at people if you assume that their intent or that their motivation or that their even unknown bias is such that they're coming at you from that perspective. But it doesn't mean that they are. Everyone who's curious isn't curious because they are thinking they're superior or because they see me as a set-aside kind of novelty or object. The reality is things are interesting. Things that are different are interesting to us. So I guess what I'm saying in all of this is people will ask me questions in my life about things that they find interesting, and I can choose how to take their questions, how to respond to their inquiries, whether or not I'm going to be offended. That's my choice. That's not their choice. And yes, it's okay to say, I don't like it when people just come up and touch my hair. I want you to ask me before you touch my hair, and sometimes I might say no. But I think we need to put down some of our barriers, some of the guardedness that we have and the assumptions that we make about people who are asking those questions. But let's think at a deeper level about these issues. It doesn't mean that someone is objectifying me or making me into some kind of exhibit or display because they're asking questions, legitimate questions, and because they're expressing interest in something. When you get a good exchange and dialogue going on, that goes a long way toward dispelling confusion. And is it my job to educate people? No, it's not anyone's job to educate anyone on anything. But if I'm in a position where I can, I will, because it helps to do away with separatism. And that's what I'm trying to do away with. You know more about me, I learn more about you, we come together. There's nothing wrong with that. I thought that this experiment, which is basically what it was, a social experiment, I thought it was fantastic. It gave a great opportunity to educate. So as you guys can see, I have a lot to say about this topic because it's close to my heart. It has to do with reconciliation, with restoration, with building relationships, with building bridges, which is my heart's cry, and the vision that I have for my life. So if you want to respond, please feel free. If you want to post a video response, please feel free. Just please don't be ugly. I've tried to be honest but respectful, and I'd appreciate any responses that are also honest but respectful. Okay, I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.